Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and folks, it's a jungle out there. No, it is definitely wild. If you're trying to do any type of video game hunting this weekend, good luck. The malls are crazy, the roads are crazy, the stores are crazy. It's just pandemonium everywhere. People looking for all sorts of stuff, and it's just it makes it really tough. But I am closing out the end of the year with a few more retro pickups, which I'm going to show you because I have a doozy, which I want to share with you. I actually got to check something off of my retro wish list this year that's been there for quite some time. But first, I want to talk about some of the more modern pickups that I got today. So definitely glad to find these, and let's get into it. So the first pickup was a Mario Party Jamboree. I picked this up because I do like having a good holiday game that I can play with the family. We can all kind of gather around and get our gaming on. And so I did go ahead and pick up a copy of Super Mario Party Jamboree. I'm excited to get this one going with the family. We've actually been playing a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I think we're on like level 17, like we've really been going in. And I gotta say, Usagi feels like a cheat character, man. That guy is really good. So I typically don't use Usagi. I typically use Donatello. Donatello has always been my favorite Ninja Turtle anyway. So I've been playing a lot of that. But all that being said, picked up a copy of Super Mario Party. This will probably be our Christmas Day video game. We'll probably spend the day Christmas Day playing this. So was glad to pick this up. I actually traded in some. I traded in some games that were rejected because I basically did a clean out today. As you all have heard, I've been doing a lot of talking about all killer no filler in 2025, and I just pulled out a lot of games out of my collection which I just felt like were filler for me. Some people might not consider some of those games filler, but for me they were filler, and I traded away a bunch of games to pick up what I'm going to show you here in a minute. But all that being said, there were 3 games that the store that I took them to did not accept. They rejected them, so I took the 3 rejects over to GameStop and used the trade-in credit that I got from GameStop to put towards this Super Mario Party Jamboree, so it only cost me around 25 bucks. So that was good, but this is one I'm glad to actually have and play. Next up, finally got my copy of Stellar Blade on the PlayStation 5. Was stoked about this one, not stoked at the fact that it came in with a broken seal. I don't know what the heck is going on with these games. Like, I feel like the packaging is just subpar with a lot of these modern games. I feel like every single time I picked up this game, like not every single time, but if I pick this up game, if I pick this game up 5 times in a store, at least 4 out of the 5 times, the disc was like loose in the case for whatever reason. So I don't know, the quality control, they got to do better here. Having a loose game in a sealed case just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why that happens. If someone can leave me a comment down below and tell me how brand new games, sealed games are coming with discs that are loose inside. Somebody has to do a better job with quality control there, especially if we're paying, $70, $80 for a game. That just shouldn't be happening. All that being said, I am glad to finally get Stellar Blade. This is my first ever PlayStation 5 game, so super stoked to have this and definitely plan on playing the hell out of it. That's the reason why I'm not making a big deal of it, because I am going to open it up and play it. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll open it up and a little bit later on, and maybe we can check the disc together just to make sure the disc isn't scratched up. But these were the 2 newer games that I picked up today, so was glad to get those. Now, as I said, I've been concentrating on all killer, no filler 2025, and everybody has their own definition of what's killer and filler. For me, killer is going to be, first off, all the games that I'm into. So hack and slash games, ninja games, shoot 'em ups, shmups, run and gun shooters, action platformers. That's what I'm into. And so I was able to actually pick up some really good killer games that are killer to me, because for me, it's not just about price point. It's not just about how much things are worth. Is the game going to be good for me? And so the first killer game that I added to my collection is Ninja Gaiden, only available on the original Xbox. I know that this game has been ported in a number of different versions to different platforms, the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, But Ninja Gaiden on the original Xbox, both Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden Black just have a distinct feel to them. And this was one that I definitely wanted to add to my Xbox collection. I was glad about this. This is a very cheap game. This game was only $8. On average, it probably goes for about like $10 or so, but this is still a killer game. And this is just a prime example of how killer does not necessarily mean expensive. Killer can be just a really good game. That's a ton of fun. And this game definitely meets my criteria for killer, so I'm glad to have this Xbox original game in the collection and to add Ninja Gaiden. So that was a retro ad. We have another retro ad, which is also pretty inexpensive, and that is Castle of Shikigami 2. So this one also was a very clean pickup. I mean, look at that case. I mean, perfection. On the case, very good condition. Love that. Not a single dent on the case there, which is tough for PlayStation 2 games. A lot of these PlayStation 2 games come really hemmed up, but this one is in really like new condition. Was glad to add this one. This is a shoot 'em up. Castle of Shikigami 2 is a shoot 'em up. The manual is just as crispy as the outer case, and this was a clean pickup. This was 14 bucks, I believe. 16 bucks for Castle of Shikigami. Another cheap but amazing retro title that's been added to the collection. So two really sick retro games that I'm glad to add to the collection. And then the last pickup is Grandia 2 on the Dreamcast. Now, I actually beat this game back in 2020 or no, 2021. I actually wound up, no, was it 20? I think it was 2020. Back in 2020, I beat Grandia 2. I played this game, I put in maybe 25 to 30 hours in this game. A lot of grinding in this one, but this is a really cool story. There's a lot of almost like biblical or religious references in this one, more than I thought that there would be. And I'm not a huge RPG guy. In fact, a lot of the games that I pulled out of my collection were a lot of the RPGs that I had on like the Xbox 360. So like Infinite Undiscovery, I sold that. Last Remnant, sold that. Resonance of Fate, I sold that. So I got a lot of those like, you know, kind of low tier RPG games out of my 360 collection. Did the same thing, cleansed out a little bit of my GameCube collection from games that I just didn't, you know, I didn't want. And so I pulled out a lot of RPGs. I pulled out a lot of games that just weren't in good condition. Maybe they had writings on the case. Maybe there was a little bit of label damage, whatever the case may be. I pulled a lot of that stuff out and took it to my local retro game store and made a massive trade. And I'm going to show you the main thing that I traded for. So get ready. Yeah, picked up Grandia 2. I wanted to add this one back to my Dreamcast collection because this is one of the few RPGs that I can really get with. I dig this RPG. This is a good one. For those who are like RPG aficionados, of which I am not, I know there are people who play a lot of RPGs. They could tell you which are the best RPGs to play. That's not me, but I do know like the RPGs that I do like, and it's odd. You would like some of the best RPGs are on like PlayStation consoles, like the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2. But two of my favorite RPGs are actually on the Dreamcast, which I don't think is really known as being an RPG console. I think the Dreamcast is more like action, you know, and like arcade style, like most Sega consoles. But my two favorite RPGs are Grandia 2 and the first Evolution. I never got a chance to play Evolution 2, but I beat Grandia 2 and I beat Evolution. I beat Evolution way back in the day though. And those are two of my favorite RPGs. So this was one that I wanted to add back to the collection. Glad that I picked this up today. Found it a good deal on that. So just three classic titles. To me, this is killer. None of these games are $100 games or anything like that. They're all under 50 bucks. The most expensive one is Grandia. Grandia is about a 40 $5 game, I would say 45-ish. So that was a cool one to grab. Was glad that I got it, and it is a part of the collection. Now, again, I traded in a bunch of games, a lot of games, all to pick up the console that I have been trying to get my hands on for a long time. And feast your eyes on that. Sheesh. So finally checked off this console off of my wish list. I have always wanted a Sega CDX. In fact, I do have an original Sega CD, not the original, but I do have the Sega CD Mark II. So there were multiple Sega CD consoles, and for those of you who are familiar, you have the original Sega CD that you got with like the 16-bit Genesis, but then you had the Sega CD Mark II, which is the one that you commonly see with the Tower of Power, and that's this one. So this is the Sega CD that I've had, and this is the Sega CD setup that I've used for all of my Sega CD gaming. I've had this set up for quite some time, but for those of you who know, this is a very clunky thing to set up. Now I did get this complete in box. I do have all the manuals, all the hookups for all this, but I just keep it out for when I do want to play Sega CD games. But hooking this up is a real pain because when you want to hook it up, you got to plug in the power supply for both the Sega Genesis, then you have to plug in the power supply also for the Sega CD, console or the CD port. Then you have to make sure that you've got the power plugged in. The RF adapters, the RFI, audio video rather. So it's just a lot of hooking up, man. It's just a lot of work. And on top of that, look at the form factor. This is like really clunky. It's big. It's, it just gets in the way. And so I'll have it out so that I don't have to take it out of the box. But then even when I keep it out the box, hooking it up is just a pain. And because of that, I don't get to play my Sega CD games as much as I want to. So now with this bad boy, I can put it all away. In fact, I can put even my Sega Genesis away because the Sega CDX is an amazing console and it's a CD player. So this is actually a portable CD player that you can use. It comes with a headphone jack. And if I want to, I can walk around and listen to CDs. And I probably won't walk around listening to CDs with this because I would not want this to get damaged. This is a very expensive console. Most Sega CDs go for around $500. You could just call it $500. This is like a $500 console. But I went ahead and traded away a good chunk of games. And with all the trade-ins, I only had to pay about $100 to pick this up. So this is a steal of a deal. I'm super glad to have this in the collection because now I can actually play my Sega CD games. And I can play my Sega Genesis games. It works just like this. This right here does everything this can do. And Sega was just known for doing that. I think this is a big part of the reason why Sega went out of business because they just, a lot of redundancy, just too much redundancy. Sega made the same console like 5 times in a row, just in different shapes and sizes. It'd be the same system, it'd do the same exact thing, but they just kept making it over and over and over again. Well, in any case, this to me is the best and most convenient way to play my Sega CD games. I am super glad to have this in the collection, and it is in pretty decent condition too. I mean, most Sega CD consoles come in good condition because most people who own a Sega CD understand what they have, so they try their best to keep it in good condition. The biggest thing you have to worry about with this is the laser going out for the disc reader, but that's the case with all Sega CDs. I think the one that's most prone to damage is the Model 1. The first Sega CD model, I think, has the most issues. And then I think right after the Model 1 is the Sega CDX. This setup is the most durable from what I understand. The Model 2 Sega CD is the most durable. This one has the least issues, but this one is definitely the most convenient. So I am happy. I actually cleared up space. So I got rid of a lot of games that were just taking up space on the shelf that were what I would consider filler for me, and definitely made some room for this Sega CD and just some really great titles. So it was a busy day. I was out for a good chunk of the day, moving and shaking. But this might be the last like big in-person retro deal. This was a huge win for the year for 2024. Was glad to get this, and definitely plan on going in with some Sega CD games now. But that does it for me. Let me know if you've had any success with any pickups over this weekend, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.